One, two, three, four. Welcome to the show. We ain't going on the show.
Now you know you're supposed to finish that pizza before.
I was trying.
before you choke.
I was trying. I'm intermittent fasting, and I'm 2 hours over. Man, help a brother out.
You gonna choke trying to sing that song with that tough pizza. Why you holding like a cigar? all right. My turn.
One more time.
I'm gonna start it off this time. Maybe he'll be done chewing by the time it is his turn. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the show. We talk about nothing show.
Welcome to the show. The We Ain't Talk About Nothing show.
Welcome to the show. We ain't talking about nothing show. No,
we've been doing this for a while now,
and we can't ever.
We haven't quite gotten it together.
I watched Life last week. Y'all remember Can't Get Right?
Can't get right.
Can't get right. We can't get right.
That don't make no
sense. Buddy. I was waiting for that thing like a little kid. I love that part of that stupid show.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the We Ain't Talking About Nothing show.
Welcome,
we
friends.
talk about a whole lot while talking about absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah, that's right.
So come on in, join the crew, pull up a virtual seat. Hey, do us a favor. Let us know that you're here. We know we got some folks who are watching, so drop us a comment in the comment section. Say, hey, let us know you're here. Love the feed. Share the video. Invite somebody to join into the conversation tonight. All right. Good to have y'all joining us. Give us a hand wave or something. Let us know that you're out there.
All of that.
People
all of that.
Out in Facebook Live land. Hey, Monica Boyd. Welcome.
Hey there.
Hey, Sister Deborah, good to have you. All the way from Pittsburgh.
All the way.
Allegheny. That's right.
That's right.
Allegheny.
Yeah.
Guys, how y'all doing tonight? Oh, let me also say, we don't know where David is. We've lost him.
and then every time we say David's babysitting, y'all jump all down our throat. You can't babysit your own children, whatever. David raising his baby along with his wife, so him and his wife are raising their baby. Let me put it that way, because y'all gonna try to say I said something else. They got a baby, and that's his priority. So we get that.
That's right.
We totally get that. Mama Jeanette, that's my mama, one of my mamas from church.
That's right.
Welcome.
We need to do something about it. We need to do a show about church mothers, man. Good God.
Oh man,
I gotta
tell me about it.
Yeah.
I
got like 3 of them who have full permission to be up by my car, because I don't have any direct family. I have some extended family who go to church with me now, but my grandmother passed, my uncle with a different church, my mother, and all them. So like I got church folks who know, hey, if anything break out, I'm on your side.
I know that's right. I got to shout out my Aunt Shirley. My Aunt Shirley and my Uncle Alex, they on tonight. Good to see y'all.
Aunt Shirley.
Yeah. What's up,
Welcome to the show.
You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So Kathy Brown, y'all, I bet y'all didn't have 4 godmothers when you got baptized. I had 4. Oh, godmother. And Kathy Brown knew.
Also 30 when you got baptized. So there's
that. I know. I was 16.
30. Might as well be 30. I don't know who was there when I got baptized. John David MacArthur baptized me. I couldn't tell you if I was actually there or not. I don't know. Who knows?
That's funny. That's funny. Yo. Yeah, I did that thing, man. I love it.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Well, yeah. So Kathy and Annette were my church godmothers, and people that I met through the church, and Mrs. Taylor, my best friend Victor's mother, and Mrs. Walker lived on either side of me, And my mother, when I was younger, my mother couldn't cook. God rest her soul. She couldn't cook, save her life. So if my mom's food was nasty, I went to Miss Taylor's house or Miss Walker's house to eat. And I was like, okay, so when I messed around and got saved, I was like, okay, they have to be my godmothers because something happened to me. I'm gonna be okay. So it's got nothing. So Kathy, but everybody knew Kathy was like my main godmother, which I never said that, but you know, that's just how it worked out, you know. And that's
it's probably rude, but you know, we be knowing.
right.
Everybody know there's like a hierarchy.
Right. Yeah. So that's just how it worked out, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what you been up to today?
My Monday routine, as much outside as I can tolerate. Gotta keep that. Keep some of these other things going on in the world to a minimum. So Mondays I unplug, spend as much time outside as I can. 4 catfish today, so I'm good with that.
You said you did what now?
Caught 4 catfish.
Oh, you caught 4 catfish. Oh, okay, cool. Man.
Yep.
Yeah. So my father, well, after my mom died, he just kind of let his deck go. He built this deck that my mom commissioned him to build, and he just kind of let the joint go. So it's really big, really nice deck, but he let the wood kind of dry rot. And so my sister has kind of turned into my father's mother. She's not my mom, but she's his mom. So she be telling
That's how we do. We got to parent our parents so, once they get a certain age.
I've been teasing him that his mama told him he had to redo his deck. So she coming home this weekend. So he get me and my brother over there. And we carry 28. I can't make
he had to do it before she saw it.
What happened? Oh, bro. 28 pieces of wood that are 16 feet long. If you can imagine that. So we had to take them off the rack at Lowe's, put them onto the cart. Take them off the cart, put them onto my dad's truck, take them off the truck, and then carry them around back and up on his deck. Bruh.
So that's what you were doing today with all that wood and stuff.
That's exactly right. So I was So today when you all called me, I was riding in my convertible with the top down, letting my hair blow in the wind. But strangely enough, it doesn't move.
All those flowing locks.
What did you do today, Pat Rick?
Yeah, that's a little mark from Varick.
Yeah, Jeanette, you don't. How you not recognize me? This is not.
It's that gray in the middle.
It's not right.
The head is still the same size. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but you know, had a okay day. It's we're candidating still inside to take care of some of that. Mondays aren't really. I tried to make Monday like my Sabbath day, but I'm always too. My mind is always kind of twirling on Monday, so I have to just jump in. So Thursday is pretty much my kind of unplugged day. So I was busy kind of.
So I'm gonna ask 2 follow-up questions. You mentioned candidating. Tell the people a little bit about what that means.
Yeah.
So most people may know I'm a candidate for the office of General Secretary of Christian Education in the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. And so General Conference being postponed, of course, meant that we've got another year to candidate. So everything is kind of everything is virtual now, and so I know we're going to talk about some of that as well. So with everything being virtual, it's kind of opened us up to do some virtual traveling, as it were. So one day last week I was in Ohio and then Texas. So that's the liberty that the virtual space affords us. So.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So my second follow-up question is directed to both of y'all, and it's kind of related to, in this season, how do you structure your week as it relates to writing sermons, like delivering, relevant content to your congregations? How do you make that work? Because there's so much happening really, really fast. So like, how do you make all that work, knowing that you can, if you finish your sermon on Tuesday, it's going to be stale by the time Sunday get.
That's
And
if you finish it on
I
Tuesday.
don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know if anybody does that.
No,
doing that?
nobody's finished their sermon on Tuesday. To be sure, okay. Let's just
Said to
get
be
that
sure,
clear. Oh
unless
no,
you preach it Tuesday night.
So now
Right,
I
unless you
saw
preach
one
it
of our
Tuesday
local
night.
pastors who obviously did not a Zion pastor, but who obviously did a recorded sermon, and it was so out of touch, dude, because it didn't touch on anything that's going on now. And I'm not saying you can't pre-record them, because I mean that works. It's easy, and it was a great message, man. Don't get me wrong, but I'm telling you, there's some stuff that we have to speak to. So let me tell you what this happened to me. I've always felt like that I wasn't as saved as I needed to be, because I didn't like to pray as soon as I woke up in the morning, and I still don't. To this day, I don't do it. I was in a meeting at First Baptist of Glenarden. They had TD Jakes. I don't
think you go to hell for that.
I'm just saying.
Right, like you was like, I hope that ain't what's sticking down, because buddy.
But that's the mind of the millennial, though. I'm telling you, from my generation was taught by the generation before mine. As soon as you hit the floor, you drop down on your knees and you start praying, right? And you pray before you start your day. I was in this meeting and TD Jakes is there, and he said, I don't pray when I get up in the morning. And I was like, yes. I'm like the only dude in there.
TD Jakes can do it.
Right. I ain't praying in the morning. So he said, but he said, I don't pray in the morning. He said, but because I don't know what to pray for. He said, I get up, I get my food, I get my morning coffee, I get the newspaper, I read the newspaper, and then I know what to pray for. So I was like, bruh, let me tell you how revelatory that was for me. So I have to have a spark. I don't know what happens for you, Patrick, but I got to have a spark, like something happens for me. And once I get that spark, then I start writing. So I'm normally done by Thursdays. Friday and Saturday, I'm like maybe a little small edits, but I'm done. And I knew what I was going to preach on Tuesday and had half of it on Tuesday. I'm just saying this just happened.
Not my ministry, Doc.
I'm talking too long, but let me say this. I was reading Job, and it said that Job's body was covered with boils from the soles of feet to the crown of his head, and that he took a piece of broken pottery. The King James Version says potsherd, but if you look at a different language, it says a piece of broken pottery, and he scraped himself, and he sat in the ashes. But I didn't even deal with sat in the ashes thing. But first of all, what was a rich man doing with a broken piece of pottery in his house? Right, that thing didn't even occur to me. And then there's a potsherd gate around Jerusalem. And outside of that potsherd gate was the city dump where they took the broken pieces of pottery. So brokenness was common to mankind. And think about it. And so the title of my series is Under Attack. Black people under attack in America. So I talked about how brokenness is a part of our experience. It's a part of what we have to live with. Man, that thing messed me up. But then when this boy got shot in the back in Atlanta, man, I couldn't just preach it like that. I had to put that in my message.
Wow.
I had to put it in there. Yeah. So all right, I'm done. Look who said
I mean,
that's your.
We was waiting on her.
We can get started now.
Your friend.
Right, my peer.
Right, that's right, your peer. Your contemporary.
Oh,
right.
1960.
Get her off the show. Can we get her off the show?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, similarly, I wish, and I've prayed on this. I want to be finished by Thursday or Friday. It just don't be like that. But I agree that the spark is absolutely essential, and sometimes it just just drops out of thin air. Sometimes it's picked up in a random line. That thought then drives you into a scripture, and it unfolds from there. And so this week was a little rough, but last week we preached on Matthew 2 and the slaughter of the innocents, and Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be quiet, and refusing to be consoled. And one of the things that was kind of working on me is like this whole idea that, well, we should just be quiet or just be peaceful or just kind of, and, even with people trying to figure out, okay, what's the response, right? What do we do and how do we, some people feel powerless or whatnot. But it's Rachel's example of being refusing to shut up, refusing to keep quiet, refusing to allow this moment to pass. That is so very powerful. Because just like all of those years ago, blood is in the streets, innocent people dying and unarmed and all of those things to support a wicked agenda and yada yada yada. And we as the church, we can't afford to just kind of be silent. We can't afford to, even if we don't know all the dynamics or whatnot. We've got to refuse to be consoled. And it even starts right there, using our voices collectively. So. Yeah.
And so I asked that because it seems like things move really fast these days. Like since we've been home under quarantine or semi shutdown or whatever you want to call it, everything moves so fast. So I was wondering how you all like managed to, and that comment is kind of on par with what we're talking about.
Right.
How do you manage to stay relevant with like what's going on in the culture and the times? And that Rob Parsley thing is kind of par for the course because he retracted that thing.
So I actually haven't seen it yet. So y'all, I've heard that it was crazy. So
I wish
I
could share the screen, but by the time I pull it up, it'll be time for the show to go off. Let me. He says, "Hear the heart of God."
That's what he said.
He said, "Hear the heart of God." Then he said, "It's time out for bitterness." And but he called off every person, every race, every colored race, and left the white folks for last. And he said, and even so, he qualified the white people, called off all the other colors, qualified the white people. And then he said, "Hear the heart of God, it's time out for bitterness." And then he made excuses for the founding fathers. All of them.
Wait, when you say that he qualified the white people, what do you mean?
This is what he means. So he said, and even
so he was like, black people, Asian people, Hispanic people, and even white people.
Right.
It's time out for bitterness.
Like, so yeah. So
the rest of y'all niggas is bitter. And even the white people sometimes too.
I don't think you say niggas on the show.
Really?
It's out there now.
Oh, it's out there.
Now, I think you said ass one time.
I didn't.
You almost said it.
Let's keep going with the heart of God. What's the heart of God?
I didn't mean it like that, though. I was talking about donkeys and stuff. Hey, cuz, what's going on? So,
tell me about the heart of God.
So he says the heart of God. He said it's the heart of God, and he qualifies. He mentions white people at the end, and then qualifies. And then he says, he makes excuses for the founding fathers. They owned slaves, but they either released them during their lifetime or at the or upon their death.
Right.
What? Bruh. I mean, man, it is so out of order. And bruh, it was sickening. And now this is how small the black world is. So my family owns a busing company in Ohio because they're in an old school R&B group. Some of y'all know, some of y'all can figure it out.
Oh yeah.
So when I moved to California, I moved on their tour bus, which was like super cool. But they rent that tour bus out to certain groups. They rent it out to the Four Tops. One of the groups they rent that bus out to, one of the people they rent it out to, is Rod Parsley. My wife said, I ain't call his name. Did you call your cousin? I was like, I need to. But he probably already seen it.
Right.
Nonsense. I better not catch Rod Parsley in that bus.
And so that was the entirety of his response to all of what's happening.
So he
here.
went on for a bit. I can't remember all of what he said.
This is a video or like an article?
It is a video, and
it's produced. So there's like production to it. He's like standing, I guess, in the pulpit of that World Harvest Church,
but like this,
right? And he's like pausing, like you can tell, like they did some good editing on that piece. Now his video of apology, maybe, or his response to the backlash because he was crucified. First thing,
he was cut up.
He was strung up. First thing yesterday morning. First thing Sunday morning.
Now, when did this happen? When did he post this?
Either Saturday night or Sunday morning. So it was fast.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
And that's part of what we're talking about. Like it was fast that it went up, fast that people reacted to it, and it came down fast too.
Oh, it came down fast.
It came down fast.
I got to. That's the apology.
Right, and his apology is no editing. He's sitting like at home with like his phone like in his face, and you could tell that he was like, "Oh, we ain't got time to do no editing on this. This got to go out there now."
Right.
And
so what is he apologizing for exactly?
He basically said that slavery was horrible. He used a lot of adjectives to qualify how bad slavery was, and he wasn't excusing the fact that slavery was bad, and he did not mean to offend people that he loved, especially those who served with him in ministry.
So I'm gonna try to share my screen. Hopefully this will work.
Okay.
Oh Lord, we might be cut off of this.
I'm gonna share that.
We're
Can y'all see that?
talking about nothing.
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
Is it?
That's this. We see your screen.
Yeah, we see. Yeah.
All right. Can you see this now?
Yep.
Y'all can't hear it.
Can't hear it.
Oh, you didn't share. Did you share the volume?
Oh, I didn't know you had to do that.
So go back, and when you cancel that.
Okay.
And then go back to the share, and when you share, I think the Chrome tab, you have to click on the bottom, like optimize for audio and sound.
Share audio. Oh, I see it. All right here. Oh yeah. All right, you see it now?
Man, he excited.
He is.
Oh yeah.
No,
Teaching old dog new tricks.
Hey. I don't want Simone to be offended.
Leave my friend alone.
It's not working. It's not working. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
And
Hold on. Let me go back.
my Asian brothers and sisters, my Arab brothers and sisters, my Hispanic brothers and sisters.
Is this the apology?
And
no, this is the original.
My white brothers and sisters. Hear the heart of God. Please be done with bitterness. Please put away hate. We live in a great land. Let me shout it before you respond to me.
Oh, Jesus.
Previous unto us.
Founded by people just like you. Flawed people. But those framers framed the liberties that every one of us enjoyed today.
Oh, God have mercy, Jesus.
If you hate America,
go back to Africa.
Please give me your alternative.
I was ready for that.
Don't hate our founders. That's a lie. Don't discard their legacy. Well, they had slaves.
Watch this.
Every one of them freed their slaves either during their life or upon their death. And we fought a civil war.
You know you don't free somebody when they die.
Our nation has been washed in the blood of the bloodiest war ever fought to secure that we can stand here today and speak out against a curse Maybe I could call it the birth defect of America.
Hey, Mark, can you move that comment so we can see Patrick's face?
Oh,
I
there's the
can't
Eckfeld
see
family.
the comment.
Oh, okay. It's cool.
They've got about 19 children living in their home, most of which were born with a birth defect. Shall we throw them away and say they have no value? Shall we throw America away? Should we throw the idea of America away
If it's racist,
because it's still not perfect? Or should we stand up and fight to make it a more perfect you? Let's stand up together, hand in hand, arm in arm, and let's build a nation better than the one our framers could even envision. We need you. We love you. We need you to be rooted in the rich, rich soil from which our republic sprang.
Oh my God.
Remember these words from Winston Churchill, will you?
He's talking about racial issues, but he's quoting
If we
Winston
open
Churchill.
a conflict between the past and the present, we'll lose the future. We have to dream bigger. We have to believe stronger. And as for me and my house, this is the time to stand tall in all the beauty of who we are. And hold tightly to the wisdom of our fathers.
Of white racists.
To dream their dreams of a righteous America. And become that generation where black men say to white men, and white men say to Asian men, Asian men say to Hispanic men.
What are we saying now?
Let's join hands together.
And whoop y'all.
And under God,
Oh, sorry.
let's be silent no more. Let's restore America.
Brother, when I tell you.
Ooh, it was worse the second time around. So these comments here are
So
pretty
many
good.
issues.
So
So
somebody
many
said,
issues.
Tasha Washington said, it's his version of MAGA. I didn't even really grasp how much this looks like a Trump ad until just now.
Ooh.
Oh, absolutely.
It looks just like something you would see on TV that would then say, paid for by the committee to elect Donald Trump.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this idea that this American experiment that only benefited, like you can't even deny or separate. I mean, you can if you're white and you're privileged and all of that.
Yep.
You can't deny and separate a country built on the backs of black people, brown people in America, a country that intentionally left out people like us in its founding documents.
That's right.
So like it's
Right.
there. It's not like
And we
made
were
up
counted as 3/5
3/5.
and had to fight to get that part, right?
But we have to do away with bitterness. Right.
First, we were the first ones now.
That's right. Man, please. And this
There's so much here,
black
dude.
people
Oh man.
is why Christian people can't be delivered from cussing. Cause baby, when I heard this bull,
Hey, bro, I was fighting it right here.
Look,
It's a family show. I'm trying.
we might need that beat button and then a little thing to put the thing over your face so you can't see what word they say. Because
we
tonight is the cussing show. After that foolishness.
hey baby, let me tell you. I said, listen, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, it doesn't make a sound. So none of y'all heard me, and I'm not saying I said it. I'm saying some stuff welled up in my sanctified. Hey, glory.
Deep in the sanctified city of your soul.
Oh, y'all hear me?
And it just calls to my mind just the kind of the chasm between Black people and white people and our ability to understand what's happening in the country. Because this idea that the future, right? Don't forget, if we, whatever he was saying about the past and the present, we would lose the future and all of that foolishness, like as if the future can only be attained by us just washing our hands and forgetting about it.
But he's acting like that past is not still the present.
Right.
Exactly.
Like this oppression and this mentality of superiority has stopped.
Right.
It has not. Like the same founders who owned slaves and freed them upon their demise, apparently, according to him. Like,
so can we even say that? How do you free a slave upon their demise, upon their death? God did that, nigga. God did that.
I thought we couldn't say that word on this show.
He is coming to get us, y'all. We
This
can't do this.
We need a beat button.
We do.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, I couldn't believe that. I could not believe that. And I'm for real. My cousin ain't got nothing to do with that nonsense. But I want to be like, hey, cuz, you know you're bored. Yeah. Let that bus run out of gas, man.
That's wild. That's wild.
But and to kind of bring it back to the topic a little bit. So he said that we reacted immediately. I don't know if it went up first thing Sunday morning, but as soon as I woke up and was, getting on Facebook and all that for the day, I saw people's reactions to it. And so it went up, we reacted, and he took it down. And it just seems like that's so much of what happened when you think about what happened with Starbucks.
I was going to say that, yeah.
And then even, honestly, with George Floyd's murder, it happened, we reacted immediately, and things started to roll. And now, of course, you know where we are. Was it 3 weeks later? Everything is happening so fast. And so content has to be fast, and it has to be on point. Because if you are tone deaf in your message, you will be murdered in these social media streets.
Ooh, buddy. So
my gosh.
Black Twitter
emotions are heightened now. I mean, we ain't playing around.
And we're so much more sensitive to what's going on in social media because we ain't got nothing else. We can't be together physically. So this is how we are socializing almost 100% of our time. And so it's like it was like he said it to our face. Like he was in my presence and said that stupidity, and so we had to slam him.
And being a white preacher who has built his ministry upon the Black tradition, all of what he does is inspired by somebody Black.
And that's right. Co-op. My daughter explained to me what the millennial language is. Appropriated Black preaching. The cadence of Black preaching, and hear the heart of God.
And so he was the first white preacher I've ever heard. And as a kid, like I used to watch his little stuff on TV because he had all the Black preachers, all the Black singers, and even when he was preaching, he had a little cadence to him. Like, he had a little, not a good tune, but he had a little,
he was trying.
He had preaching tone. I think that's what you call it.
Tasha Washington said we should say to him,
"You about to lose your job. Get this
about to lose your church. You about to lose your church. You are pandering for no reason."
Talk about Paula White too. I mean, we coming for the preachers too.
Right.
We have to.
No, we got to. But look, so this is. We talking about content. This is how we got started with this show. For those of you who watch all the time. So here's what happened. It's so much going on in this world. And then in our ethos, in our family ethos, we needed to keep each other together because we've lost so many people who were close to us that we never even envisioned what life would be like for us without them. Kathy Brown, Lewis Anthony, Mrs. Brown, And for me, Mr. B, like my mom, like I just said, your grandmother, yeah.
So that works like so many that you never even think about building your life without these blocks, these building blocks, these cornerstones, these great cloud of witnesses. Like, how do you do life without that stuff? Like, it don't work. Like, these are like, they're like our fabric. Like, how will you compose without your fabric?
That's right. So Kaloma Smith tells me about StreamYard and to send out my video feed. Of course, I tell my brethren, and my sister-in was just not a word. So we
use it.
You know, black preachers can make up words now. I mean,
absolutely.
Stewards, you can make up words. Just don't do it in
and church folk be laughing like, oh,
right.
That's so smart. And that's an Anthonyism.
Then they go home and be like, oh, Pastor's so dumb.
That's an Anthonyism. That's a Moorism.
Now we're gonna get back to the Moors doing the show on the night we do our show, but we ain't gonna talk about that because one of them is kind of my boss.
So are we gonna get back to it, or we're not gonna talk about it?
No, we gonna talk about it. We got to get back to it.
Because you said both in the same sentence.
Because black preachers can do that. We can contradict ourselves. Okay?
And do
get on here
walking on thin ice now.
And you do sometimes.
No, man, he ain't watching this fool. So now he probably on Dion's phone, like, what? Let me see what they're talking about. So I know I've been my phone gonna be lighting up as soon as the show over with. So we get on here, we're testing StreamYard, but I didn't know you could test it without going live. So as we're live, we're jabbing at each other, which is what we do when we're not live.
Exactly.
And then people just kept getting on and laughing at us, laughing at each other.
And you said, all right, well, if it get below 10 people, we're gonna hop off. It never got below like 25 people. So we was like, these people just keep talking and watching us, and we acting a fool.
Right. And I think somebody said, why are y'all on here? We ain't talking about nothing. And so here it is.
Here it is.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that because people are so content starved, other people have gotten the idea to them. We're not saying they got it from us.
You're so ignorant.
Oh man, because sometimes I can't see with my glasses on.
You're an ignorant person. You're an ignorant person.
You got them. What them things called?
Them quadruple focus.
Them bifocals.
Okay, keep living, player. Keep living. Because both of y'all wear glasses. Okay.
Patrick has always worn glasses. So if he was gonna wear bifocals, he would have had them by now.
How many fingers I got?
You know, for real, I can see that now. But if I took my glasses off, I can't see either of you.
Patrick is blind Bartimaeus in real life. And I'm getting there.
But, he touched me.
So,
I still can't see.
Here's what happens. Between 40 and 44, you're going to experience ocular degeneration. And whether you need bifocals or not, you're going to get you some. Yeah, you're going to. Pastor Scott Moore will be calling you. Tell him call me. Tell him call me. Now,
what you doing? You about to fight now? Call me.
Call me, Scott Moore. Gonna schedule you and your brothers on the night you know we supposed to have a show.
All right.
One of these days,
putting Michael Jordan on, then you go watch a show about BJ Armstrong. See, that's just not even fair.
You ignorant. One of these days, we're gonna talk about all the times you done gotten arguments in public, and I had to come get you because that whole go get Scott Moore. Let him call me. I've heard that in real life. You call him.
We're not going to call the roll right now.
I should have recorded them things, man.
Don't do that, Charles. Don't do that,
brother. But you mentioned there's some other folks out there with content. And I think that's kind of important to kind of keep in mind. Is that one, with all of this canceling that we got going on, if we cancel everybody who has pissed us off, we won't have nobody left.
That's right.
So one thing we have to make sure we're doing is as we cancel, we have to replace.
That's
So
right.
when we're taking some things out of our lives, out of our diets, we have to make sure we're replacing them with substitutes that are more helpful for us, that
That's right.
reflect our thoughts, our ideas better. So you who were watching Rob Parsley, now tune in to Coloma Smith's broadcast.
That's right.
Listen to Pastor Guttridge and those cats from the Midwest, because it's good content. It's helpful. Listen to More Talk, because it is from a perspective that you identify with.
Exactly right.
Helping you, and it's also an outlet for them as well. And I think that's what's been really good about this for us, is that we're engaging you all. Y'all are having fun watching us act a fool. And I often say this, try not to cuss in public, but also like this is really helpful for us. Okay, I'm trying to cuss in public. I'm you out there, but I think it's also really therapeutic for us, because it gets some of this off of our shoulders, and we're not like wallowing in this muck and in this stuff that we're experiencing. So we want to make sure we highlight our brothers and sisters. The hymn sing with Steve Rashard Alexander. He and his wife Lacey do a cooking show periodically. Others are doing other stuff. And
Brandon
so
Fisher and his wife, I know
that's right.
That joint
Which is really funny.
Man, that jump was funny.
They were talking about shopping and stuff the other day too, yesterday. So it's a lot of good stuff out here. Look at some of these church broadcasts over again. You in church, for an hour, and then you can look at somebody else's. So we want to make sure that we're highlighting and lifting up some other content that we love and we listen to and helps us, as well as we ain't talking about nothing.
When that show Between Us, I was laughing. I turned to it and was laughing, and I didn't know what they was laughing about. I just kept laughing. They were laughing.
What show?
What show?
That's the one. Guttridge and
yeah, Between Us.
Yeah, man, I laughed the whole time I was on.
It was pretty funny.
It was funny, man.
That's cool.
And then the More Talk, man, was just so deep, bro. Like they was
heavy.
They it's just totally different. And there's no, we joking about the competition and all that stuff I said about my bishop. So these is just jokes, okay? And if I was talking about any bishop, it was Bishop Brian Moore, okay? Because he's my friend. I don't work for him. Yeah.
Oh,
so
and the reality.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry. Go, Patty. My bad.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it's an excellent point in terms of the ease of pushing out content, especially in this season. There isn't the same level of logistical kind of requirements, to plan like some of the things that we were trying to do in Mid-Atlantic, like, the Q-tips and all of that. Do you know how, like, that stuff would typically take weeks to, like, what church we going to go to, and, like, who we going to do this, and, like, we got to pay this person, and, like, da-da-da-da-da. The ease of being able to just in a few days, hey, we're meeting on Zoom, the information be there. This season with its challenges, right? But it's presented us some very interesting ways of getting out information in a quick and agile way. That for too long we've just kind of allowed all sorts of other stuff to bog us down. So
yeah. So it's really cool. So I mean, so we got all these new shows and all this other stuff coming, and I guess it's kind of the way content is presented is so much different. Like, remember back in the day when seasons actually lasted, like television show seasons lasted most of the year. And now you could have 2 or 3 seasons within the same calendar year of a particular show. And now we got like Netflix and Hulu and what's the other one?
YouTube TV.
Yeah. Oh my God, I signed up for that. I love it, dude.
You talk about it all the time.
I'm telling you, gotta get it, man. Do I talk about it all the time?
You've been really excited about it
all the time.
He about to kick us off.
Oh, he kicked himself off. Would you look at that? That must have been a mistake.
But I'm coming back, though. I'm coming back.
Yeah, we knew he wasn't gonna be gone for too long. It's too early for him to quit.
So in terms of I was about to say, it's funny because when he did that, I was looking at the time. I was like, it's too early for that part. He done messed up.
Not yet, player.
But in terms of responding quickly, I know one of the things we wanted to talk about was Dave Chappell Special, 846. Come on, Mark. Come on back. Come on back.
Yeah, because that one I think is. I have always thought that Dave Chappelle is one of the best comedians ever.
Mm-hmm.
That special wasn't even. I don't think it was comedy. It was.
I don't think it was supposed to be.
It was a social critique, kind of a monologue, but it was just a necessary conversation. And I don't know if I'm just too churchy, but I talk back to Dave a lot, just because I be talking to the TV, and it was really impactful. And I don't always agree with him. It was plenty of stuff I didn't agree with, just like his other comedy stuff. I don't really agree with some of his perspectives, but it was challenging to kind of wrangle and wrestle with it. And to your point, it was kind of a quick response to a lot of what we have seen go on. And I love the fact, I did really like and respect the fact that he said, "Who cares what your favorite comedian has to say about this stuff?"
Right.
And he said, "The streets are talking for themselves." And I think that really is kind of our point. That's kind of what we're getting at tonight, that we have to talk for ourselves. And as we are, kind of muting some of these foolish voices out there that don't represent our thoughts, our opinions, I'm going to try not to eat Starbucks chocolate chip cookies, but them joints be banging. And so I'm going to try to patronize more local coffee shops, black owned stuff, as often as I can remember. Because now I make my own coffee, so that's kind of cool. But I think it's important for us to realize we can talk for ourselves. Like, we don't need celebrities to take up our causes. They should speak out too. And they should use their voices too. But it's not like we're dependent upon a celebrity to be our mouthpiece. It's not that way. And we've seen it in action. We've seen what us taking up our own mantle to talk. Is that Cheerwine?
No, that's country. Cranberry ginger ale. Because I ate a dozen crabs and 2 slices of pizza.
So you're gonna have heartburn, and I don't think that's gonna help.
You're gonna be up tonight.
No, I wouldn't call this heartburn.
It's burning though, but it might not be the heart.
You still ignorant.
But
continue.
But to your point, Domo, I think that I agree 100% in terms of kind of how it felt like a commentary on two fronts. That one, kind of the blatant kind of commenting on the social situation, kind of the frustrations of people, but also really digging at this whole idea, because he talks about that whole Don Lemon piece. And I'd love to know y'all's opinion. I still haven't. I kind of feel what I feel about Don Lemon. I'm interested in kind of what other people. But anyway, that kind of critiquing this idea that a person's presence on social media or a person's kind of response in a public space is an indicator of their presence or their absence in the movement. And not looking for people to necessarily be our voice boxes, but galvanizing our people to use their own voices. And so I thought that was really, really interesting approach to kind of take it, both ways there. That there's the general commentary, the general issue, but also in how we use our voices. Because he kept threading that in, like, well, I have to say something.
Right. He's like a skilled black preacher who drops these breadcrumbs throughout the conversation for you to pick up on. And that's just kind of a literary technique in general. And so I have kind of abstained from the news, so I have not watched CNN in quite some time. I'm proud of myself. I used to be a junkie, so I didn't see what Don Lemon said. So the gist I got was that he called people out by name, saying like these celebrities should be saying something. That's kind of the gist.
I haven't seen it either. I just took from what he said.
Right. And so that's an interesting comment coming from Don Lemon, who, in my opinion, has not always used his voice to speak to issues that affect Black people. And so, sometimes he's critical, and more recently, I guess in the last 5 years, he been down with the cause with the fist afro pick in his head. But for a while there, he was not kind of using his voice to talk to these, to lift up these social and political issues that affect us. So I don't know how I feel about it coming from him.
Let me tell you what I think. Well, one of my friends, Rick Martin, the guy I went to high school with, knows Don Lemon, and I'd be interested to know what Rick would say, because Rick worked for CNN for 12, 13 years, something like that. I'd be interested if he chimes in, if he's still on. But let me say what at least what I know, because there's so many people who are in the news media that I went to Howard with, who are actually, on the news now. There's a lady named Stephanie Elam, who was in the School of C when I was at Howard. Yeah, Stephanie's on CNN. So some persons are in the sports broadcasting, but still, I know enough about the broadcast journalism to know that you got to get to a certain level before you can interject what you feel about certain things or whatever. Don's gotten to that level now. Yeah, the Pierce guy.
Oh, wow.
Left off. Yeah. So he's gotten to that point now where he can. So I don't know if you noticed, the Don Lemon that used to fill in and do stuff is different than the Don Lemon that's on the show.
Right.
Yeah, he totally different, because he's at that level now. So he's a baller, shot caller. And
gotcha. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. He's
That's
at
good context.
He's at that level.
It is.
So and then so you can't call people out until you get to that place. Now, when you step in infection, and it takes those cats a minute to get to that level, man. I mean, and then so once they do get there, then it changes the whole game. So Chris Cuomo is he's like the man over there now. It used to be,
right?
It was the guy Anderson Cooper. It used to be Anderson Cooper. Chris Cuomo now, he just came in. He's taking over. He and Don are pretty tight. So here's what I know. Beyond that, I didn't see it. I heard that he called people out, but I know this without seeing it. Nobody likes to be called out, especially by the news guy. He's like, come on, Don, you got to know your place. Like, dang, you ain't got. You might have credibility at your company, but you ain't got no street cred to be calling Dave Chappelle out.
But I don't think he did. I think I think Chappelle was like, I wanted him to call my name, and I think he called a bunch of people's names, but he knew not to call Dave, because Dave kept saying something like, "Do you know who I am and how I do my comedy?" So I don't think he called him, but I can't say it because I didn't see it. So.
I don't know. Somebody who saw it, I wish Method Man going to that. No, we don't want Method Man.
What's up,
we can keep meth out of this. Him and Red can be quiet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we want all them.
We don't. Yeah, no, we don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we straight.
Yeah, we doing all right.
yeah. But I just think if I could jump in about my man Dave Chappelle, I just think he's a genius. He did all that stuff, and was it me, or did he seem high and drunk, or high and or drunk? I mean, I thought this dude was amazing.
I've never seen Dave Chappelle on a video and said he's sober. So I'm sure he was not sober.
And he kept picking up that cup, and I was thinking, I'm sure that's empty, bro.
Yeah, it gotta be. It's a prop. It's a prop at that point, because he had to have killed it.
But he was amazing. He was amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And of course, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's on YouTube, Netflix. The Netflix is a joke YouTube channel over there. So it's 8:46 because, and wow, isn't that crazy, right? So it's 8:46 because of the amount of time that former Officer Chauvin's knee was on George Floyd's neck, but also Dave Chappelle was born at 8:46 in the morning.
That's crazy.
Wow. Which is another layer in terms of kind of all of this, why there's so much pain, because there's so many tentacles. Like there's this collective trauma because at some point we all have some relation to this, you know. We all see ourselves in this or see ourselves in kind of the context in some way. So, you know, thought that was an interesting layer as well.
So, and did you all see today where they released a 911 call for George Floyd?
No.
And the 911 worker said, so they released the response to the lady who can see the body cam real time. And she can see that she's at the call center. She's a 911 person. She can see their body camera real time. She calls a supervisor and tells the supervisor, y'all can call me a snitch if you want to, but they went into their police cars and then brought something out, and 3 of them sat on this man. So you said that today. Google it, look at the video. So I mean, it's not a video, it's the sound. But she saw him as a man. The police officers obviously didn't. You know, when you go back to the slave corralling and that sort of thing, so they see us as having to be controlled. You don't shoot a man in the back. You don't even talk about a man behind his back. That's betrayal. So when you don't see somebody as a man, then you shoot him in the back. Then you kneel because you don't see them as that. So the 3/5 human thing might not be in what we believe. I mean, the Constitution today. It might not be in our governmental workings today, but it's in the hearts and the minds of so many people as we deal with this nonsense moving forward.
Well, that's plenty.
Yeah.
Well, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Can I make one quick suggestion? Don't eat a dozen crabs and pizza because ginger ale don't help. It's
burning too, ain't it?
Let's not talk about burning now.
He's probably just boiling. Bless his heart.
Oh, that's right. He said they had Kobe's jersey numbers hanging in the rafters, and those 2 numbers together were
his birthday.
Yeah, 8/24 is his birthday. Oof. God almighty. Yeah, that thing was deep, bro. It was deep. Yeah, so anyway, man, I left and I came back. But I gotta leave again. I'll see y'all next time.
That's what.
So y'all pray for Mark Thomas. He's gonna have a rough night tonight. And it's not the fire of the Holy Ghost.
It's the fire of them crabs and that groovy pizza.
Burning.
Ignorant.
Yeah. So in your late night prayers, pray for Mark Thomas.
Please pray for little Mark.
Pray for the world.
Little Marky Mark.
Little Marky Mark.
Yeah. All right, Patty.
Domo, have a good night, my brother. Good
You
night,
too,
everybody.
Man.
Good hanging with you guys tonight.
All right. Peace.
All right, brother. Peace.